at me and tell me what you see. I look at you and tell you what I feel. Look at me and tell me what you see. I look at you and tell you what I feel.
Welcome back to the long-awaited Hellraiser series, and with the last film basically being a crime against the series and its fans, with the original heroine Kirsty becoming a murderer, there's a pretty low bar set for this film. Will it raise above it? No, because it's called Hellraiser Deader. Deader. That's not a fucking word. That's something a child says. Oh God, what a great start. This is Hellraiser Deader. The film opens, perhaps appropriately enough, in a crack den, and we get to see all the misery around as our main character, and second journalist in the franchise, Amy, wakes up and takes pictures of said misery, because she's documenting the scene. You might be mistaken into thinking she's exposing this sort of thing and will inform the authorities after writing her article. No, it's pure profit, no other reason. Our hero! Amy gets back to the office and we see the kind of article she has been writing. How to be a crack whore. Because people need a how-to guide outside of whoring and crack. She goes to see her boss and friend who has an assignment for her.
With your encyclopedic knowledge of skankology, have you ever heard of deaders?
Ugh, seriously? There are people calling themselves that stupid fucking name? He shows Amy a tape of a group of people and a man named Winter. A woman enters and Winter talks to her and gets her to say everything about her isn't real. And then laying her on a bed, he hands her a gun which she shoots herself in the head with. However, the video doesn't end there as Winter molests the body a bit and then she wakes up before the tape ends. Now, you should be asking that this film seems like a random, nondescript, low-budget horror movie, not Hellraiser. You also might ask, what has any of that got to do with Hellraiser? Well, firstly, you'd be right, as this is another case of a standard horror movie turned into a Hellraiser movie. And secondly, very little. But the film likes to think it's got more of a connection to Hellraiser in a really bad way. Amy's boss sends her to Bucharest to find out more on these deaders. And she's told where to look, which she goes straight to upon reaching the country. They're really not hanging around with this film, are they? It's one of the few good things I can say about it. Amy goes to the apartment of the person who sent her boss the tape. Knocking on the door, there's no answer, but a horrible smell and flies, which is always a good sign. The landlord appears and Amy tries to blag her way inside.
Look, Marla's a friend of mine, and she's missing. I just need 5 minutes in there, and then I'll know all I need to know.
Ah, thank you, young lady. Your American currency will do fantastically for the Romanian economy. What the fuck kind of bribe was that? Amy is allowed in the apartment, which is in disrepair, and it's probably not a coincidence that its condition emulates the way the house looked at the start of the first Hellraiser. And looking around the apartment, Amy finds the person she was looking for, who rather gruesomely managed to hang herself somehow in the bathroom. How did she even do that? That's someone extremely dedicated to suicide. Amy searches the apartment some more, and even the woman's bed looks a lot like Frank's makeshift bed in Hellraiser. Visual references are all fine and good, movie, but you haven't told us what any of this has got to do with Hellraiser. Get to the fucking point! Amy goes back to the body, finding an envelope behind it. Reaching for it, she gets way too close to the dead woman. You know, if she just crawled underneath, this wouldn't be a problem. Amy drops the envelope, and after picking it up, she notices that the woman is holding onto the puzzle box. Oh, thank God. We've got some semblance of relevancy, finally. Now, can we keep the momentum, please? Amy manages to take the box from the rigor mortis-riddled fingers of the woman, but that doesn't seem to stop her from coming back to life and screaming at Amy for a nonsensical jump scare. Was the jump scare really necessary? The scene was highly disturbing and mysterious, and it honestly did a good job of showing how horrible the whole thing was by the way Amy reacted to it, so we felt it through her. But with the jump scare, it was just startling, breaking the atmosphere. Not to mention it was just confusing. Amy runs but is met by the landlord.
What are you doing here?
Why did he ask what she was doing there when he let her in? And why did she hit him anyway? Seemed a little uncalled for. And why hasn't anyone called the police about the dead woman? That would seem to be the priority. But hey, the box has arrived, so maybe, just maybe, the film can get to the fucking point and resemble an actual Hellraiser film. I guess not, as there's more filler back at her apartment. Amy has a stiff drink and looks over what she's found, finding a key and a tape of the woman who just basically says the guy in charge of the deaders is doing bad things. Yeah, no fucking shit. And also some advice.
And above all, don't open the box. He needs for you to open the box, but don't. It's now up to you to stop this. Please.
And being told to go to the subway, then the tape ends. So what does Amy fucking do next? Why, she messes with the fucking box, of course, opening it pretty much as soon as touching it. Well, you kinda deserve that after not fucking listening. Also, this will be the second Hellraiser where the protagonist opens the box immediately. However, unlike Hellraiser 5, this film won't be a complete waste of time. What the fuck am I saying? Of course it's a waste of time! And then Pinhead appears.
Don't think for a moment you are not in danger.
But everything just goes back to normal after that. Yep, thanks for that one, dog. We'll see you in a bit, yeah? The next day, Amy goes to the subway and sees a creepy woman in a green poncho sitting in a puddle of her own blood. Which is just disgusting, seriously. Who wears a green plastic poncho like that? And when Amy looks back at the woman again, she's gone. But she didn't think to clean up her own mess. The train arrives with windows covered, and inside is a bizarre mix of bar, sex club, drug den, and tattoo parlour. Which is meant to be creepy and disturbing, but all I'm thinking is I really hope the Romanian Tourist Board didn't pay too much for this movie to be filmed and set in Bucharest. Because really, it makes it look like a shithole. Also, on a side note, looking what goes on in that train and the lack of cleaning and maintenance, I have to wonder what kind of wall of stench Amy walked into on that train. Because seriously, it must be horrendous. Amy gets to the guy in charge who she was told to see, and he's played by Mark Warren, who's the kind of actor always referred to as him from That Thing. Amy asks him about the deaders, and he tells her as much as he knows, which isn't much, and that they live in a house together, which he gives her the address to. He also recognises the box to some extent, but by how much, I don't know. He might have just seen one of the other films for all I know. Amy goes to leave, and he tells her one last time to give up and go home. But it's well established that Amy doesn't listen to advice. Getting off the train, there's some more weirdness as Amy sees Winter standing there like a creepy stalker, and then he just jumps in front of the oncoming train. The police are called to find his body, but don't find anything. But Winter is intent on fucking with Amy and appears to her again, getting on a train. The police grab her and kind of understandably think she's off her rocker. Well, she is in Hellraiser 7. At the police station, Amy is being processed with her boss helping her out, and outside they talk with him basically telling Amy she's still perfect for this story. And after he's left, Amy takes a taxi to the place where the deaders are. Still nothing about the dead woman. Not even a passing mention. Oh, by the way, that woman I was supposed to talk to? Yeah, she's dead and her corpse came back to life to scare the shit out of me. Is it just me, or doesn't that need mentioning somewhere? Amy gets to the place she was told about, finding it locked, but using the key she was given, which we need a flashback for because we certainly couldn't have remembered that, she unlocks the gate and goes inside. Amy starts searching around inside, finding it like everywhere else in Romania apparently, completely disgusting and abandoned. Making her way down an increasingly narrowing corridor, which she seems intent on getting stuck in for some reason, it's then a knife-wielding man appears behind her to stab her in the arm a bit. But yes, it was an hallucination. I'm getting seriously annoyed with the ridiculous amount of fake-out moments in these films. It's the last vestige of a terrible writer, because they can just have complete random nonsense happen, but it's a fake-out, so they don't need to explain it, because the randomness is the point. It's irritating and crap. Amy is greeted by a deader and taken to the main room where everyone is, which is where Winter is currently making out with another body, which wakes up, and Amy sees that all the people around still have the wounds that killed them. So I have to wonder, what is the point of it all? You can come back to life, but you have to kill yourself first, and you would never heal. Seems more of a burden than anything, which perhaps is the point, but why would someone agree to that? And more importantly, what has this got to do with Hellraiser? I shouldn't have to ask that more than halfway through the fucking movie. Amy talks to Winter alone, and it's all very mysterious and creepy. She shows him the box, and then the stupid.
What is it?
You might say it's a family heirloom. The way to cheat death.
A way to cheat death? I never heard that one before. And he said family heirloom, didn't he? Yes, I think I can see where this is going. And then Winter suddenly gets supernaturally fast somehow, grabbing Amy, questioning her past, which seems to cause her to have a childhood memory of her being abused by someone. Coming out of the vision, Amy is on the bed with Winter above her. The people grab her and Winter picks up a knife, placing it at her neck. And then... Really? So we're doing this shit now? We got another what's a dream, what's real bullshit film? Except here, it's even more lazy and random because the film barely has a plot to string it all together to begin with. It just makes such a difference when you look at the original film, with its solid story and well-defined and explained characters. Amy is asleep and still dreaming about her childhood abuse until she's awakened by something hitting her in the back. And then blood. Lots of blood. And getting in the bathroom, she sees what happened. Yes, somehow she's been stabbed completely through the back in an admittedly well done effect. Then there's an incredibly long scene of Amy struggling to get the knife out, smearing her blood everywhere, which can't be good for her security deposit. And this whole scene is very well acted, with the effects doing well to make it even more real. Amy, using a cupboard, manages to get the knife out, and the phone rings, and Amy hears the dead woman's voice telling her Winter can save her. And then there's some more from Pinhead. Pinhead gets to monologue, which he loves to do so much in these crappy Hellraiser films, and he tells Amy that what's happening is not his doing, but Winter's, and Pinhead wants him. But he also says that he's the only one who can help Amy.
And your only way back is through me now. I am your redeemer. I am the way.
Wow. They're really not trying with their references to the other films, are they?
I am the way.
It's just straight up copying things we've already seen. It wasn't even cleverly done. Amy throws a lamp at Pinhead with him disappearing till the end of the movie. And then she cleans herself up as best she can and crudely uses a towel and some duct tape to make a bandage. Which looks pretty damn ridiculous, but I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. Amy returns to the train station bleeding profusely on the floor and leaving bloody footprints. She takes a load of newspapers to cover the blood and then dumps the rest on the floor to fool the cop. I would think he'd be more pissed at the papers everywhere as opposed to the blood. Amy gets back on the ridiculous fuck train to talk to the guy in charge, finding him enjoying himself. She shows him a chest wound and he tells her there's nothing that can be done now. And as the light goes out on the train, Amy realises that in the short space of time, everyone on the train is now very dead, including our man in charge. How? Why? No idea. More random bullshit. There's also one of the Wire twins from Hellraiser 5, because I really needed a reminder of that film. And then the woman who was dead at the beginning appears still very dead. Just now she's able to walk and talk instead of screaming unintelligibly. Outside the train, the woman explains to Amy a lot of what's going on. Well, actually she just spouts pseudo-mystical bollocks until Amy makes a face that we can interpret as her understanding. And then Amy once again gets a vision of her childhood abuse. But it's another big fuck you, as Amy wakes up in the hospital chained to the bed with her boss by her bedside. Why she's there and chained to the bed is of course never explained, because guess what? Yes, this is another fake out, as Amy goes to the common room to socialise with other patients. She gets talking with a young girl who offers to draw her picture, which turns out not as Amy expected.
What do you think?
Well, that was a bit harsh to walk out like that. The picture wasn't that bad. I thought it was kind of good, like an alternate universe Two-Face. The kid's got talent. Running out of the room, she finds the woman in the waiting room not as dead as before, giving even more exposition, that Winter wants Amy to open the box so that he can do some magic thing that's not explained at all. And then Amy's chest wound appears. Well, she is in a hospital, she could get that fixed up pretty easily. But no, she has her vision again, except this time the girl in the vision kills the man with a knife to the gut. And Amy falls backwards and is back with the deaders from like 40 minutes ago. Okay, just curious. Was the young girl in that vision Amy? Now, it certainly points to that being the case, but let's be honest here. Outside of the vision, there is absolutely no evidence to suggest that she ever committed that crime or had been traumatized by it. My point is, the child abuse thing has no actual bearing on anything, because it's never really mentioned by anyone. It's like it was just shoved in there at the last minute. Which, recalling when they did a similar thing with the main character of Hellraiser 3, it made sense, was explained well, and was fucking relevant. This film just feels like poor emulation. So in the Deader's lair, Amy is back to the point where she was on the bed before, making me assume that everything after that point didn't happen and another Hellraiser film likes wasting my fucking time. Winter hands Amy the knife to stab herself with because that'll give him power or something, I don't fucking know. And the guy from the train is there even though he said to stay away and the whole thing was trouble. Good consistent character there. Amy's about to stab herself with the box lighting up, and then she stabs the knife in the table, stopping whatever was going to happen. She then throws the box, which activates because fuck it, we're almost done here, and then all the Cenobites come out to play. You know, I'm sure you, like me, have been wondering this whole time what kind of connection this film has to the rest of the series. Well, Pinhead is about to reveal all.
Your lineage is that of a craftsman, a maker of toys. You should have stayed in the family business.
Oh, fucking hell. Winter is a descendant of Lamar Chand, making this film essentially another part of Hellraiser 4. What the fuck? Who does that? Who takes a horror movie, horribly crowbars in Hellraiser, and then goes out of their way to link it to Hellraiser 4, one of the least successful sequels in the entire franchise? That's either an epic level of incompetence or just sheer stupidity. Anyway, climax of the movie. Let's go. So Pinhead pontificates as he tends to do, and then the hooked chains appear as they tend to do, pulling Winter apart in a blink of an eye, making his entire character ultimately pointless and irrelevant after all. And then Pinhead turns to the Deaders, killing them as well pretty swiftly and pointlessly. It's then Amy's turn to be taken by Pinhead, with her grabbing a knife to protect herself, with Pinhead saying he's the only way out for her now. Yep, Pinhead is the only way out. Well, until Amy just stabs herself in the chest, which somehow causes the box to close, and she dies, with Pinhead giving us a classic well, he wouldn't be a villain if he didn't do that. And the film ends with Amy's boss seeing the news, wondering what happened to her. That is until he just gets another employee to take the story, so this shit can happen all over again. So clearly he gives a shit about Amy. To quote Krusty the Clown,
What the hell was that?
Hellraiser 7, Deader, is completely nonsensical garbage that, while not badly acted by the main cast, is let down by barely having any kind of plot that one can comprehend. And also, for a film adapted to be a Hellraiser film, they really didn't bother to fit in how everything in the Hellraiser universe works. And frankly, if it wasn't a Hellraiser film, I would have been far more interested in it. What possessed them to adapt it, I have no idea. Oh wait, yes I do, the almighty dollar. Forget this movie, because you won't remember it anyway after seeing it. Hellraiser 7 is a bad, nonsensical film, as I said. But it's definitely not outwardly offensive to the senses or the mind. And although not really respecting the franchise, it doesn't disrespect the audience. No, that's what Hellraiser 8 Hellworld is for. More on that next week. See you next time.